Hi everyone. So today in this video we'll be talking about our human beginnings in Africa. So let's get started. Africa is actually known as the birthplace of humanity because we have found the oldest human um fossils from human evolutions there. It emphasizes the evolution of bipedal hominids. When we say bipedal hominids, bipedal means primates that walk on two legs, and a hominid is all great apes, including humans and their ancestors. So, what that really means is in Africa, our ancestors are actually great apes, right? And in the past, before we evolved into Homo sapiens sapiens or our form today, where we're walking upright, in the past, our ancestors actually did not walk on two legs, so we were not bipedal, and we over time we evolved into bipedal hominids. So you this kind of shows you over time what happened to our bone structure and how we mostly were using four legs and walking kind of like apes do today, and over time we started walking on two legs. During around that time, our climate was also changing. So where we were living in Africa, it used to be vast forests like this, and over time, as climate changed, we started forming savannas kind of like this. So, because there was such a huge change in climate, we had to change with the climate as well in order to survive, and that is how our evolution began. And over time, the survival of the fittest species led to more of the characteristics that were adapted to the new grassland environment, which led to eventually more of our species having bipedal or walking on two legs that helped us survive. So what is bipedalism? Like I said, it is walking on two legs, and because we started walking on two legs, it freed our hands to be able to use tools, and that was very important for our survival during that time. So as the climate changed, we needed to use more. We needed our hands to form tools or use tools such as maybe fire or other weapons to be able to survive in that environment and start migrating to other places where we were that were more habitable for us. And you can see how over time we started progressing to what we look like today, but in the past we looked more like apes, and we had different names for our species. And over time, as we our body changed and how we interacted with our environment changed, we started to be more adapted to the environment by using fire and other tools. Australopithecines are one of our earliest ancestors or hominids, and they were one of the first early walkers. They were one of the first species that started walking on two legs rather than four. Over time, we started evolving into the Homo habilis and they were the first species that started using tools. You can see very primitive stone tools that were being used at that time, and then we evolved into the Homo erectus, and that's when we started to use things such as fire, and that helped us start to migrate out of Africa to other regions of the world. And we started adapting to those different regions, started using the environmental resources that we had to build more tools, more specialized tools that helped us become more adapted to different other different environments as we continued to migrate. So, what type of tools did we use? We used something called the Oldowan tools, and these were basic stone flakes and choppers. Fire was also used at this time for cooking and protection, and you can see people at the during that time would just use large pieces of rock, and they would shape it into these sharp tools that could be used for protection or even food prep. So, what is the role of climate for our migration? As I've said before, the climate also evolved, not just us. Our evolution was directly related to the environment. As the environment evolved, we evolved, and other species evolved to adapt. So, our climate changed from being rainforest to more grasslands, more grassy areas. A lot of grass became abundant during this time, and This is why we had to migrate out of Africa to survive, because suddenly our environment changed. We used to be more ape-like, so we were more adapted to living in trees and rainforests. And now, since we don't have that many rainforests anymore, we have savannas and open grasslands. We really needed to start migrating to different areas that were more suitable for us, and we started to evolve with the environment as well to become suitable for the environment. And our species that were um, not adapted to the environment died off. Once again, survival of the fittest. The more fittest traits stayed, and eventually those traits start to become more prominent, and that's how we evolved into those new physical features that we have today. So what's next? In the next video, we'll talk more about climate and migration, how climate impacted our global movement, how Homo sapiens started to spread all over the world, and how tools, language, and climate adaptation played a huge role in our early history. And that's it. Thank you.